So I get the hypocrisy argument when people talk about Saban, but guess what? That's everybody else, unless you're going to let a current player do it.
I mean, he dominated the sport for 15 years. I don't know a better guy to do this, but no matter how you do this, somebody's going to get pissed off.
President Trump has tabbed Nick Saban as the co-chair of a college football and college athletics commission to try and fix the sport. And while some people will ask, what could he possibly do? Or why is Nick Saban, who coached at LSU and Alabama, going to do it because he's going to favor those two? I disagree. And I'm from Auburn. At the end of the day, what I think this commission will be able to do is give the most prevalent information, because that's all they can possibly do, to the president in order to maybe sign some sort of executive action to be able to fix some of the problems that we have through the transfer portal, through NIL, to maybe get some sort of structure, or maybe just do an antitrust order where you're exempted from problems. But to those that say, oh, well, Nick Saban's just going to favor Alabama or he's just going to favor LSU, to me, that's like saying, well, the governor of Florida just became the president, so he's only going to help out Florida. I think Nick Saban cares about the overall health of college athletics, and some will say, oh, well, he didn't mind moving from place to place and getting paid while players couldn't get paid. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you something. Nick Saban in Alabama and Nick Saban into LSU, just like everybody else in the world, they were paying guys. Do you know how many millionaires that Nick Saban created at LSU and Alabama? More than he had probably on his roster when he was at the Dolphins. So to me, and Coney, I'll kick it over to you for some more information. I don't think of a better guy that you could put here. And again, there's supposedly an unnamed other co-chair that we haven't heard about. We'll see.
It's named now.
No, it's Texas Tech.
Yeah.
It's okay. So they've officially named him. I'm just to the point where, look, I think the guy's got a good pulse on what's going on. He has a ton of experience. He dominated the sport. And at the end of the day, I'm all for getting as much information to the people that can make a change. I'm for this.
And quickly, he allegedly paid guys at Alabama.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you.
Well, everybody was
I'm
paying
trying to help
everybody.
you
They
out.
were just the best at it.
Thank you. All right, let's dive in with a little more information here. The first reports were coming from The Athletic as well as Yahoo Sports. This right here is coming from our friends over at On3. So President Trump is reportedly considering an executive order, like you're talking about, which would create more scrutiny around NIL. The Commission on College Sports is expected to deeply examine the unwieldy landscape of college sports, including the frequency of player movement in the transfer portal, the unregulated booster compensation paid to athletes, the debate of college athlete employment, the application of Title IX to school revenue share payments, and even conference membership makeup and conference television contracts. And the co-chair that you were talking about is Cody Campbell, allegedly. Oil tycoon in Texas, and the chair of Texas Tech's Board of Regents. Now, I'd like to know what you guys think. It feels to me like this commission is mostly symbolic in nature. Now, President Trump, he'll sign an executive order on anything. I mean, he's a wild card like we've never seen, so maybe I'm wrong. It just seems like with the timing of this, we're going to have the House versus the NCAA court case settlement, certainly by the end of the summer. It could come by the end of this week. Then after that, college football season is going to start. Say what you will, Nick Saban is going to be on the set of College Game Day every single week. And then after that, which this is going to lead into our other story that we're going to talk about today, the college football playoff contract is going to be up in 2026, possibly with an expanded playoff. So I just question if the players don't want anything put in place because they're able to make as much money as possible. And maybe the SEC and the Big Ten don't want to mess up anything right now because they're going to sign an extended contract and possibly create a super league. And I just wonder what exactly is going to come from this. And while I do agree with Nick Saban on so many of the points that he is making, and I do think that he is a great person to lead this because of his success in college football and he's recently retired, it is difficult for him to dodge the accusations of hypocrisy when He made hundreds of millions of dollars in the sport, and every single time he was presented with an opportunity, his agent said, okay, how much? How much are you going to pay me? It is hard to dodge those accusations, especially from attorneys who are helping lead the House versus NCAA.
Do you think there's a better guy other than Nick Saban to do this?
No, but again, my point still remains. I mean, this is coming directly from Stephen Berman here. This is the attorney helping settle the House versus NCAA case. His quote is, Coach Saban and President Trump's 11th hour talks of executive orders and other meddlings are just more unneeded self-involvement. College athletes are spearheading historic changes and benefiting massively from NIL deals. They don't need this unmerited interference from a coach only seeking to protect the system that made him tens of millions of dollars. There's a lot that's right in that.
If any way you cut this cake, somebody's going to get pissed.
Okay. So there's a couple things here. One, there is not one coach or person involved in that arena that did not go through the same thing that Nick Saban went. It's not Nick Saban's fault that we didn't have NIL. Nick Saban never came out and said, we don't, players should not get paid for their name, image, and likeness. I actually think Nick Saban was one of the biggest, names that was on the forefront of trying to take care of student athletes. I go back to what I said about the amount of money, right, and the amount of millionaires, and they put in a lot of work too, the players. I'm not discounting that at all. But look at how much money he made the players. The second thing on that is, say what you want about the coaches and their ability to go from place to place, but you know what? They had contracts. And if you went from one place to another, there was a buyout or there was a clause or there was something where there was either a penalty for the individual or a penalty for the institution. So all I want, and I think a lot of people want, is for there to be some sort of structure in that for the players. Not that the players can't have agents that can't go and try and do the best deal for them or do exactly what Nick Saban and his agent did. And guess what? If you're good enough at something, if you're the best at something, when you do go to a place and you have a contract, you have a lot of leverage. If you're a great player going to a place, you have a lot of leverage to get the best deal for yourself. Nobody is saying that they don't want that. I don't think Nick Saban is saying that he doesn't want that. All we're saying is we want a structure. Even if it is the exact same structure that coaches have, fine. I just want contracts for players to have both sides of them. To Stephen Berman's point, okay, so you just don't want there to be any consequences if you void a contract for the players?
Of course not, because he gets paid more money.
Well, that's
calling out hypocrisy.
So to me, that's hypocrisy.
This guy gets paid more money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's
open.
hypocritical to myself in nature. So I think we can agree to say, listen, the players should get paid. I think we should have collective bargaining. I think we should have that as far as a player's representation. Now, what that means for them being employees and this, that, and the other, that's why we're going through this. But Blaine, I see no problem with a commission being put together to just get more information and more perspectives to the people that could actually fix this quicker, instead of us watching Congress's slow ass go through something for 15 years and then kick the can down the road and kick the can down the road. So I get the hypocrisy argument when people talk about Saban, but guess what? That's everybody else, unless you're going to let a current player do it.
He's the best guy to do it. I mean, he dominated the sport for 15 years. I don't know a better guy to do this, but no matter how you do this, somebody's going to get pissed off. If it's the players, it's the coaches. If it's the teams, it's the conferences. I mean, how do you fix it? There's no way to fix this. Like, there's no exact way unless Trump comes down with a congressional order or whatever the hell it is. So do you cap NIL? Do you have to cap NIL for small schools?
Here's where I think the rubber meets the road with talking about this cap of $20.5 million. And we went down the avenue of, if there's no collective bargaining, they're still going to sue even if this cap gets taken care of. And Jim Cavall was talking about how it really doesn't affect NIL and stuff like that if an individual player wants to do another deal. But if I'm the Big Ten and the SEC,
no,
I don't want a salary cap. My biggest advantage is I can spend the most money on players from my institution or my collective or whatever it is. So to me, I feel like if you're a member of the SEC or the Big Ten, and if you're the ACC or the Big 12, you kind of want a salary cap. If you're the group of 5, group of 6, whatever the hell they want to call it nowadays, the little guy, you want a salary cap because that gives you not that you're going to hit that cap, but at least it gives a cap to the guys that can spend the most money. So that's where I'm wondering if there's going to be one argument, if this commission, goes down and they send something and there's no salary cap, to me, that would be the argument of, okay, well, now you're just playing to the big dogs. Because if I'm the SEC and I'm Greg Sankey and I'm the Big Ten and I'm Tony Petitti, I don't want a salary cap at all. I'm going to be able to spend as much because that is my difference. That is my biggest advantage is financial.
Well, it's funny you say that, but wasn't it Alabama's athletic director, Greg Byrne, who after the Big Ten flipped several commits that they had at Alabama and just SEC commits writ large, who said, wait, actually, maybe we need to look into this and cap some of these payments that are going on, which, I mean, we talked about that.
Well, to me,
I found that humorous.
Again, what I find and what I'm going to continue to find most interesting about this is, are the SEC and the Big Ten truly together in this fight? Like, are they truly on the same side? Or is the SEC looking at the money that the Big Ten has? Because in reality, and we talked about this, the Big Ten has more financial capability than the SEC. Yeah. So would the SEC then all of a sudden take on the mask of the little guy, fighting the big guys at the Big Ten and say, no, which to me would be the ultimate irony. But will the Big Ten, and Cone, I mean, you're the only one here with experience in the Big Ten playing at Michigan. Is the Big Ten love for college football, because let's be honest, that's what we're really talking about here. Is the Big Ten's love for college football enough where they would be willing to spend the amount of money that the SEC is willing to spend on college football?
Well, again,
outside of three schools, outside of like Michigan.
Well, but that's the point I was going to follow up with. It depends on the school, right? Like I think that, and this is the problem with conference allegiance or conference affiliation, is it's still circumstantial based off school. And I know we're going to get into this a little bit when we talk about the SEC and the Big Ten coming together with a push for this 16-team playoff. That's the other big news that came out of this past weekend. But it depends on schools. I mean, clearly I saw the Buckeyes from Columbus, Ohio. Their SEC mentality. They're willing to do absolutely anything it takes to win at football if that means there's no other sport on campus, no matter how much money it takes. And guess what? They're the reigning national champions right now. Does every single school in the Big Ten have that same mentality? No, of course not. Do some schools in the ACC, like Florida State or Clemson, do they have that mentality? I do think they do. But I think that more schools in the Big Ten and the SEC, especially with the television deals as they're put in place right now, are going to be able to benefit from this. And they do prioritize football. The point that I wanted to make, what you guys were talking about on, well, there's no way to fix this, or like what should be the first solution, I think what would be the healthiest starting place is that every single decision or every single conversation that happens, the first point of business is to say what is best for college athletics long term. No one's focusing on the long-term health of the sport right now. And that means, and I'm talking about what's best for the TV executives to make a lot of money, or what's best for the players right now to be able to make as much money as possible while it's the Wild Wild West. Those aren't the conversations. What's best for college athletics long term? I hope that Nick Saban or whoever is put in charge of this commission is thinking about that when they go forward, because you guys will agree, right? Congress isn't going to act.
No,
right?
I don't trust
I mean, we've had Senator Tupperville on. Like, Congress is not going to be able to get together to act on this. And even if they do, or even if there's an executive order based off Nick Saban's recommendations or whatever, don't you still need a leadership body in place? I mean, am I wrong in saying that I don't think the NCAA is capable of managing this, even if they got some sort of antitrust exemption? Or do you think that's wrong? Do you think as long as they weren't able to get sued every other month like they are right now, that they would be able to lead us forward?
I don't think the NCAA is capable of handling this, because they've had a lot of time to handle this, and they haven't been able to figure out. We can talk about selective enforcement. We can talk about them, before the Ed O'Bannon case, not wanting to pay the players. I don't trust the NCAA. I trust the NCAA about as much as I trust Congress. To me, it's the same thing, right? It's a bunch of rich people. It's a bunch of lawyers trying to do what's best for one certain entity, as opposed to what you're saying and taking what I call the ecosystem look. Because college athletics is an ecosystem. It's not just the players. It's not just the coaches. It's not just the institution. It's not just the fans. It's everybody. So to your point, and if we're being honest, any structure at this point is better than what we have. But can we actually go find the best possible scenarios in this ecosystem to put it all together for the long-term health of the patient, which is college athletics?
We need real rules, real accouability, and a system that everybody can follow. And I think Nick Saban is probably the best to do that. I don't know.
And it's not just Nick Saban. We need multiple perspectives. We need that commission. It needs multiple. It needs people that love the sport like we do. It needs people that played the sport. Cody Campbell's a great example of that, right? Cody Campbell's an offensive lineman at Texas Tech, sold three oil companies for like $1 billion a piece or whatever. So he's a successful businessman. We need every single perspective to try and make the sausage and get the best product for everyone involved at the end, where there's consequences for coaches and players and administrators and institutions if they don't live up to that side of the deal. And the only way to do that, to your point, and you brought it up about the NCAA, but you can't be able to get sued over everything.
Yes.
There has to be some concrete level of, all right, this is it. This is what you're signing up for. You know it. We know it. If you don't live up to your end of the bargain, just like all of us in the real world, you watching right now, you listening right now in your job, you have consequences if you don't live up to your end of the deal. That's what we need for.
And as much criticism as the NCAA deserves, it is tough when they're caught in between a rock and a hard place where they're getting sued in circuit court every other month. You know, like I said, pretty soon it's going to be college football players saying, well, you shouldn't have to mandate that I go to class. I can play for 12 years. I don't need to go to school anymore in order to get my NIL payment. So that's been very difficult. And another thing, we're talking about college football heavily here because that's the biggest revenue driver. But another thing the NCAA has to worry about is there are dozens and dozens of sports. And what's best for college football is not necessarily best for volleyball or gymnastics, and you don't want those sports to go completely away. So each one of them needs like a different answer and a different solution. But this kind of ties into the other big news, which I'll read the headline here, and this again is from our friends at On3. Potential 16-team college football playoff bracket is gaining support from the Big Ten and the SEC, which pretty much just made me think, like us telling our wives we're playing golf Friday is gaining support with you and me.
It is.
Yeah, of course. Of course it is. Do you want to update the bids there, though, the automatic qualifiers?
Yeah, so not shockingly, I think one of the reasons it's gaining support because the SEC would automatically get 4, the Big Ten would automatically get 4, and then there's a drop, David. Yeah. The ACC would automatically get 2, the Big 12 would automatically get 2, and the group of 6 would get 1, and there would be 3 at-larges, which I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar, little orphan Annie, that 2 of the 3 at-larges is probably coming out of the SEC or the Big Ten. So this isn't a cap. This is a floor, of the amount of teams. And here's where I stand on it. We've talked about what's been the scariest thing that, whether it's us, whether it's Pate, whether it's some of these other guys that follow college football really heavily, the expanded playoff watering down the regular season. But to me, when you talk about watering down the regular season, it isn't going to take away from the excitement of the regular season. It actually, to me, adds to it because the games at the end matter more. I'll give you a great example. The Tennessee-Vanderbilt game last year. Tennessee loses that. Vandy's not going to make the college football playoff. But if Tennessee loses that game, they don't make the college football playoff. They had to win that one at the end. But what I mean by watering down the regular season is, on one hand, we have this argument, and I agree with it, of player safety. Well, you can't play too many games in this violent of the sport, or it's going to affect player safety. But then on the other hand, you're like, well, let's add more teams to the playoff, which in fact adds more games in the playoff. So watering down the regular season, to me, would them be looking at it and saying, all right, well, we're now adding playoff games, so we're going to eliminate a regular season game. We played 11 regular season games for how many years in a row in college football? Let's just go back to that, and we'll supplement that one lost game during the regular season in the college football playoff. I don't agree with that. Because let's not forget, guys, we still have a conference championship game. So there's teams that are going to be playing, 17, 18 games? Possibly. We saw the same argument.
Bring that back up there.
Yeah, bring it back up. We saw the same argument in the NFL.
The play-in games, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5.
Are we just trying to, is college football just trying to be more like the NFL?
Well, I mean,
slowly going towards the NFL, it's a mini NFL playoff.
But again, I want y'all to opine on this, then I want to get to the automatic bids because I've got a problem with that. But do y'all see what I'm saying about, how can you on one hand say we care about player safety? We've done all this research and all these studies and we've changed the equipment, this, that, and the other. But hey, you're going to have to play more games to put you in danger. I don't know how those two things can survive at the same time because I know which one wins out. And if I'm the players, you want to talk about collective bargaining? One of the biggest things I'm going to bring up is, oh, we want more money. Y'all want us to play more games. Y'all want us to play a conference championship and play-in games for teams that aren't in the conference championship game. If I'm a player in collective bargaining, that's one of the biggest sticks I'm swinging, buddy.
They'll make up for it by just having a running clock. You'll have fewer plays and more commercials.
No pads.
Make you happy?
No pads.
Well, fewer commercials. I'm all for that.
No. Fewer plays, more commercials.
Oh, fewer plays. Yeah. The potato chip bag.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
There are no chips left in the bag.
Yeah. Well, let's go. Blaine, what do you think about the automatic bids, saying, all right, you at least have to have this amount of teams in from this conference every year?
Well, I think it's really good for the SEC and Big Ten. Big Ten.
So do they.
To be honest. I mean, you're basically half the field from TV revenue and from probably the two toughest conferences and the biggest fan bases. It's going to be great for the playoff. But I'm in the same boat of the best team should make it. But we do put that to who? The playoff committee, who we've all seen the video, had no wings or beers in their commercial, which I'm worried about enough, deciding who is the best teams to put into the playoff. But I do think, the SEC and Big Ten are usually the hardest conferences to play in. Do teams get punished if we don't have automatic bids and they go off the top? And hell, 3 ACC schools had a great year, but the rest of the conference was absolute garbage, and they get put at the top, and the SEC doesn't have as good as year, but it is a tougher conference, and not enough teams making in from the SEC, so that's kind of the winding road you go down.
Cody, what do you think?
I think a year ago, SEC fans would have looked at this and said, wait, you're putting a cap on how many teams we can have in the college football playoff? Well, that's crazy. We have our 4 automatic qualifiers, and even if we get all 3 at-large bids, that's 7. That's not even half of the 16-team playoff. The SEC has the best football teams in the country. We could make up all 16 spots of that. That was a year ago. But after the very first 12-team playoff, I think SEC fans saw, wait, yeah, we all have to play each other during the regular season.
Yeah.
And it's a zero-sum game, and someone has to lose that. And some of our really, really good teams in our conference in the SEC lose a lot of games, and they end up going 9-3 like Ole Miss or South Carolina, and they end up not making the college football playoff. Maybe we should go in for something that has a few more automatic qualifier spots. But you asked me about playing in the Big Ten. I'll just say, as someone who did play in the Big Ten, I hate to see 2 conferences splintering the rest of college football. I love college football more than I love the conference I played in or even the school that I played at, but I don't blame the commissioners for that. The SEC is better off with Oklahoma and Texas added to the conference. Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, their only job is to do what's best for their
I agree with that
conference.
100%.
So I don't blame them at all. I do hate to see the rest of really good, proud college athletic programs across the country getting splintered, and they're going to get left behind.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. If you're Greg Sankey, you obviously want to put your conference, because, I mean, you serve at the pleasure of the president, so the presidents want to be able to have, the most amount of teams possible in that conference. It generates revenue. We know all that. Helps TV contracts, this, that, and the other. But mine's more of a holistic look, and I wonder in the comments if most of you agree with this, or if you're an SEC fan, or you just like, screw it, we want the most teams we can possibly get in, because that could maybe mean my team gets in. I like the way we did it last year, in the sense of you get an automatic bid, you win your conference championship game in the Power 4 conference. We can talk about the Group of 5 at-large bid, whatever, with Boise and even though Boise ended up being one of the top 4, I just where I'm at is, I thought that the goal was to try and get the best 16 teams possible, and every year is not the same. Like, that's the beauty of sports, whether it's professional or whether it's college. Every year, the SEC may not be the best conference. Every year, the Big Ten may not be the best conference. So why don't we have one automatic bid for each one of the Power 4 conference championship game winners? I'm fine with that. All right, now I didn't love the automatic buy that you got attached to that. That's a story for another day. But why would we not say, all right, you get one automatic bid if you win your conference, okay, and then we divvy out the rest to the best teams at large. I'll give you an example. The NCAA basketball tournament, March Madness. If you win your conference tournament, you get an automatic bid. Outside of that, they pick the best teams. And again,
you trust the committee to do that?
The committee that's a different argument. We know how we feel about the way the committee operates here if you've watched the show. But the goal should be to find, outside of those 4 teams that win the conference championship in the Power 4, the best 12 teams possible, because 16 minus 4 is 12. That should be the goal, because it's an ever-changing window. Like, I'm just not a fan of this, because I don't think it rewards the 12 best at-large teams. It may get some of it right, but I don't think it would get most of it right the way if we just treated it as you got 12 at-larges outside of that.
If you're the ACC or the Big 12, now I know the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark, has come out against this, and he says he likes the way the 12-team playoff operated this past year. But if you're the ACC and the Big 12, is this such a bad deal? Because with a 12-team playoff, you were only guaranteed 1 spot, your conference winner. Now you add 4 spots to a playoff, but you double the automatic qualifiers for your conference. You go from 1 to 2 with a possibility to get as many as 5 if you have 3 at-larges who get those wild card spots.
I think that is the glass half full approach to it.
Well, I am a glass half full
You
guy.
you are an eternal optimist, David, and I love you for it. Most of the time I am too. But I think if you're the ACC and the Big 12, it's determined by the prism that you view yourself in compared to the SEC and the Big 10. Because if you are okay with this, to me, you're totally capitulating. You're capitulating to the fact that compared to the SEC and the Big 10, the ACC and the Big 12 are the little dogs in the yard. Now, is that the reality? Is maybe that the smartest play because you do double it and there's no way that the ACC is going to catch the SEC or the Big 10 or that the Big 12 is going to catch the SEC and the Big 10 in football? Maybe. But I just wonder, the same way I talk about standards for teams, and we saw this kind of with Arkansas's, I think, play-by-play guy came out and said, if you got a problem with accepting mediocrity, this, that, or the other, I just wonder if you say, okay, we're fine with this, are you truly capitulating for the future to the SEC and the Big 10 as opposed to saying, you know what, we're just as important. Damn it, we're going to fight as hard as we possibly can to be viewed on the same level as the SEC and Big 10. Because to me, this is the precedent that's being set. Because the year before, David, you brought it up. Nobody got more automatic bids than the other conference in the Power Four. This is a precedent of we get at least double the amount of teams that you're going to get in. And I don't know if the ACC or Brett Yormark and the Big 12 are going to view it that way. And I don't know if it's a good thing if they do, because if you do, I feel like you went ahead and bent the knee.
I mean, 133-team tournament for the entire season.
No,
let's be honest.
no,
let's be honest here, guys. I mean, anybody can win it from Georgia to UMass. All right, anybody can win it. Top 4 seeds get a bye. The rest, you're going to have to play week 1. I mean, then we just roll through. It's not a season anymore. All right?
See, that'd be awful.
It's a tournament.
That'd be awful.
It'd be fantastic.
That would really.
It'd be fantastic. You want to be locked in. You want to talk about being locked in for every single game of every single week until you get to the championship? You think 16 fan bases are locked? Let's wait till 133.
I'm worried because do we feel like we're going to go more than 16?
Well, of course.
And then everybody's deserving,
because then
guys.
the regular season's cooked.
Then everybody's
it's cooked.
deserving.
It goes more than 16. You do the math. You look at the bye weeks, the 2 bye weeks you have now. If we go to more than 16, they are going to have to eliminate a regular season game. They're just going to have to do it. And to me, that's a big no. That's a deal breaker to me. But again, I'm not on the Commission of Extraordinary Gentlemen of College Athletics.
And just for clarity, this isn't coming up this year. 2025, we'll have a 12-team playoff just like we had in 2024. This would go into effect in 2026 if this gets voted on, which means we'd only have 2 years of the 12-team playoff.
I just find it hilarious. Like you said, it's gaining support. Like what, the Big 10 of the SEC? Like, nope, hate it.
Gaining support.
Yeah, gaining support. That's, water is wet. Now, I've discovered this incredible tool that gives me real-time insights into my metabolism through something as simple as my breath. It's called Lumen. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. And all you need to do is breathe into it first thing in the morning, and you'll know exactly what's happening with your metabolism. Whether you're burning fats or carbs, based on your measurements, Lumen creates a personalized nutrition plan just for you. It truly is do it all. And since your metabolism is basically the engine behind everything your body does, when it's working really well, you get all kinds of amazing benefits. You'll find it easier to manage your weight. You'll have more energy throughout the day, and you'll see better results from your workouts, and you'll even sleep better. It all connects back to having a healthy metabolism. Plus, you can breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. It's the perfect scouting report, and Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game and improve your metabolic health. Now, the warmer months are coming. For some of us, they're already here. So spring back into your health and fitness. Go to lumen.me/booster to get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/booster for 15% off your purchase. And thanks to Lumen for sponsoring this episode of Crain & Company. All right, what else we got?
We do have a couple reactions here. Can we pull up this recruiting video with Dan Lanning? Jake, you shared this with everyone, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
All right, let's just play it. Nice pool. Like the big screen.
Oh, didn't see you there. Well,
What?
Schools. They all show me, types of love, but there's one school, show me the most love, and, I guess it's where I'm going. You ready, Coach?
Let's get it. It's time, baby. Let's go.
Okay. A couple just notes on the video. One, the instantly look over and say, I didn't see you there, doesn't play to me. And I get it. This isn't trying to win an Academy Award. Second thing, we got to get you a different swimsuit, dog. Like, look, I don't want to, it's a little bit too out there. That's where I'll put it. And, a lot of people, and I agree, have come out and said, this is pretty cringy. Okay, now, not Brian Kelly level cringy. We all remember that video. But it's pretty cringy. And I understand that. And this is why I'm all for having the off-the-field get-back coach. Right? We have the on-the-field coach get back. Most time it's the strength guy. You're on the field, that's a penalty, I got to pull you back. We need somebody in that room that's the off-the-field get-back coach.
Jordan Hudson.
Yeah.
We all need our Jordan Hudson.
Well, okay. I mean, you don't have to celebrate it. But like, to me, somebody's got to be like, Coach, I don't think this is a great idea. The only way that I would do this is if the recruit was valuable enough and he's like, I want to do this, I want to do it that way, and I'll commit. Okay. And I've gotten to the point now where, you know what? At the end of the day, if my team is getting awesome recruits and they're putting out cringy videos, but the recruits like it, we make fun of Dabo all the time for the cringy recruiting. But guess what? You got the player. At the end of the day, it's about getting the player. Because if I win, nobody's going to, Oregon wins the national championship, nobody's going to be like, but hey, they made that stupid ass video by the pool. I want the best players, dog. I don't care if I got to dress up like Willy Wonka.
How far would you go?
Well, I mean,
how good do you want to be, Jay?
Far.
How far would you go?
Well, there's a line to it.
Okay, is that the line?
There's a line. No, the line's a little further.
Because, I mean, a guy in his underwear looking at Dan Lanning said, oh, I didn't see you there. It's kind of, that hits the line for me.
But again, if you're a fan, though, and you're getting the great players, because I've watched my team recruit really, really well. I've watched my team recruit poorly. If Brian Harsin at Auburn was doing these cringy videos, let me finish. Was doing cringy videos, but Auburn was getting great players and they were winning. I don't care. I want to win. I'm not gonna let perfect get in the way of great. Okay, so the Brian Kelly one. You want to know where the line is? That's square on it. That's toe on the line. We got to go to a review. But guess what? He got the players. And if LSU goes and wins a national championship this next year and Nuss is holding up that trophy and they're all holding it up and BK finally gets his, nobody's going to care that you made some weird-ass video like on some rotating platform kind of grinding on another dude.
You should have done that with Bryce Underwood. He should have made that video.
Well, for $12 million. No, for $12 million, I'll give you the $12 million. I'm not doing it.
Which sort of gets me into my point. I'm only making videos if you're signing. I'm not making videos with you for commitments. I just saw a player the other day decommit from his 5th school. If we're going to get married, I'll make a video. I'm not making a video for an engagement because you're just going to decommit.
Nick Saban would never do this.
Nick Saban did the cha-cha slide with Marcus Lattimore in his living.
It's the cha-cha slide. That's anything that looks great for Nick Saban.
Or the electric slide.
That looks great for Nick Saban. It shows creativity. And
what about this?
This is just weird. One, you're trying too hard. What are you doing? This guy's sitting at a pool next to some chicks, all right? I
don't mind that.
In his underwear.
He's not really sitting with them.
In his underwear. I guarantee you he was sitting with him before this video started.
Well, why would you move?
It's
not a good look to move.
This dude's in his underwear, all right? Gets up, looks at Dan Lanning and says, oh, I didn't see you there.
Well, I'm not paying you to be an actor. I need your ass to go get the quarterback. That's what I need. This isn't film school. The only film we care about is how it looks after the game when I see you beating that tackle with that swim move and getting to the quarterback. Just win, baby. Just win. It cures all, even cringy videos.
All right, next one up here, Texas baseball. And I really need your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, okay. Let's just play the video first. Because I put this on social and it kind of blew up. So you're down 8-1, bottom of the 7th. You're a 9-hole hitter. And you're talking trash without swinging the bat. Here we go. Getting in here. 1-0 count. You're down 8-1. It's a ball. So I'm going to talk trash to the pitcher. Okay? See, in the old days, this next one, you're catching in the back, buddy. But not nowadays, because they'll throw you out if you look.
And he got hit by a pitch on his first at bat.
Yeah, which, again, it doesn't matter to me. You got to know the situation. Here we go. 1-1. 2-1. Look at him, letting them know. I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen this before.
One, act like you've been here before. 2, you bat 9th, stop talking. 3, you're down 7 in the 7th.
Yeah.
In the 7th.
It's a time and place thing for me. All right, ball 3. Still talking. Gassed up. And I'm going to get to what the other people, the people that were defending this, I'm going to get to them in a minute because I think they're missing a very valuable lesson here. So it's 3-1. Even this guy's like, okay, I'm, questionable shirt choice, and he still thinks it's skeptical. All right, 3-1. Got a strike 2, 3-2. So 3-1, we're not swinging.
So he didn't swing the bat at all.
No, we're not swinging, David, but we're talking.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so 3-2. Getting in the box. Don't mind the pre-box movement. There's nothing wrong with that. 3-2. He walks him. So we're going to bat flip and talk to the pitcher after a walk, then talk to the catcher. Down by 7 runs in the 7th and 9th.
And you bat 9th.
Okay. So let me give you what the people on the other side of this said. They said, oh, well, first off, this is a football player. This is one of their safeties. He's 17 years old, which I can be critical of 17-year-olds when y'all are making NIL money. I'm sick of this. Oh, well, he's only 17. You can't say anything. That's absolute BS.
I criticized my 3-year-old this week.
Yeah, go look at how they grade child actors in movies and then come back to me and ask for me to cry about this. Second thing is, I'm all for getting excited. I'm all for getting hyped up. But you have to have situational awareness. This is getting fired up, maybe clapping going down the first baseline after you walk. That's great. That's overdoing it. And when you don't let the players police the sport like they used to, this is what happens. This is what it turns into. Now, Texas would go on to lose this series, but to me, this is doing too much. It's cringy to me. It's lame to me. Now, look, you hit a walk-off home run, or you hit a grand slam to make the game 8-6, talk your ish. I'm fine with that. I think that's fine. But now we can't hit, guys, or everybody's getting tossed.
That's
the biggest problem. And some people like this. I think you got to know this.
I just miss the days. If you want to act like this, that's fine. But you better pray for that guy on deck.
Yeah.
You better start praying for that guy on deck, buddy, because every pitch until he gets hit I'm throwing at his ear. So I'm throwing at his ear as hard as I can.
All right, so when you say police the sport, he was hit by a pitch in his first at bat. Was this a response to that, or was he doing this in his
I think it was all, I think it was a combination of things, but obviously you didn't get hit in your first at bat on purpose, right? That was, when you get hit on purpose or not. I think it was a little bit of that. I think it was he was trying to fire up his team. He was trying to fire everybody else up. He wanted to come in and make an impact as a 17-year-old that's a football player too, which that's a totally different level of thinking. But I think this is a great learning lesson for him. I don't think this guy's a bad guy. I don't think he should be sent to Camp Green Lake or anything like that. But I think this is a valuable learning lesson for a young player on how to respect the game a little bit more.
I can guarantee the 9-hole did not get hit on purpose.
Yeah.
That's the last guy in the lineup.
You want to know that
you're going to hit on purpose.
You want to know the only way the 9-hole gets hit on purpose is his next at bat after he does this, if the score dictates it. So to Blaine's point, though, you typically don't do this because you're worried about the guy on deck getting hit. Because you're setting him up to get absolutely popped, which means somebody's getting popped on the other team too. But you can't do that anymore, or you're looked at as basically the devil now, like Bobby Boucher's mama used to say all the time. But all right, what we got? One more?
Anything else?
Savannah Bananas?
Oh, I caught hell.
You were in a war with
What'd you say?
Bananas people.
So Savannah Bananas for the people who think baseball is boring and also have zero attention span, especially a little league with Snapchat filters, which I'm right.
How'd that work out for you?
I mean, it was a lot of disagreements, but a lot of people like to tweet as well. Look, and I don't hate the Savannah Bananas, all right? I don't hate anybody. I mean, unless you root for Alabama, that's it. I just don't think it's helping baseball, and it's for mostly the people that are saying it's growing the sport. How is this growing the sport? How is this growing the sport of baseball? You take your kid, you take your son to a Savannah Bananas game, it's not helping him learn baseball. All right, it's not helping him hit a curveball. It's not helping him know what to do in the infield. This is a circus. That's what it is. Congrats to them for selling out tickets, but it's a TikTok show. That's what it is. Dudes in crop tops doing TikTok dances, and sooner or later they're going to run out of things to do and are going to be dry humping bases for 20 minutes.
That'd be a weird OnlyFans account. Well, it gives a whole new meaning to getting to second base. But here's where I'm at with it. Do I love it? No. Would I take my daughter to it? Probably. I understand it. Because I think if you think about it in the context of this is our generation's Harlem Globetrotters.
Which my parents took me to see when I was little. And I had a good time.
They used to sell out arenas all the time. If you understand what you're going to, I don't think the Savannah Bananas mission is to turn Major League Baseball into this. I think they realize that they are exactly what you just said, a circus. It is a family entertainment arm that just happens to coincide with baseball. And in a society where we can't get anything that's non-woke in a lot of family entertainment, I think this is an avenue for, obviously it's working. There's more people that showed up to Nissan Stadium to watch the Savannah Bananas than are going to show up to watch Cam Ward and the Titans this fall. I think if you look at it through the prism of understanding that they're like the version of the Globetrotters for our generation, then it makes more sense. And I don't think they want to take over Major League Baseball. I think they saw an opportunity to make money, provide entertainment value that would catch on. It obviously has, and good for them on it. So as the guy who wants steroid Olympics and fighting in every sport, I'm shocked that this is where you draw the line.
Well, I just don't think this is more for the people that are saying this is helping the game of baseball.
Well, is there not some indirect?
If anything, it's making kids not want to go actually play baseball. The things you have to go sit and watch, the little fundamental ins and out of baseball, rather than, hey, Dad, I'm going to go do TikTok dances, put on a crop top shirt, and do backflips in the infield. That's not baseball.
Well, do you not think there is some indirect value of this on bringing some eyes to the sport of baseball? If somebody came out and said, this is what Major League Baseball should be, I would disagree with them heavily. But I don't think that's what they're saying. I think you can like the Savannah Bananas and love the Atlanta Braves and see the difference between the two. Just play this clip. This is like a little bit of an insight into what it is. Go ahead and play the clip, which is pretty impressive to me. I mean, hell, the Rockies can't even catch it without doing a backflip.
Making the catch, nailing the post.
So they have different rules where if a fan catches a foul ball, the batter's out. Again, it's the context of how you view this. If you view it as taking over Major League Baseball, I agree with you, Blaine. I don't want that. I don't think that's good. But if you view it as something separate, that there may be some indirect value towards steering kids toward baseball, I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
Bobby Jones would put Andrew Jones on the bench for that.
He would, but again, like I said, the Rockies can't even catch that standing up. That's why they started 7-33. So I see what you're saying, Blaine, but again, I hope if you go to a Bananas game, you do understand that this is not what we need Major League Baseball.
Didn't they invite us?
We need to get the owner on. We need to get the guy with the top hat on. Because, I mean, they've made a lot of money, bud.
But I don't know about me.
Huh?
I don't know about me.
Well, I want to see you ask him, do you think this is what Major League Baseball should be? I feel like y'all should have this, because I guarantee you, he would probably look at you and say, no, this is what we want to be. This is a league that we want to create, right? Look at what the XFL tried to do.
It's the live golf of baseball.
Yeah.
No, because Live Golf's actually playing golf.
Are they?
I mean, yeah, they're playing.
You're the one criticizing them for wearing shorts.
Well, look, I don't think your knees should be out anywhere on a golf course. That's just me. I like to look professional. But that Live Golf, that's not even close. That's not even close. There's guys doing TikTok dances on the mound before they do a pitch, and the entire infield goes into choreography.
Well, it's a circus. Like,
yeah, let's bring my son to a Savannah Bananas game. He's going to get a lot better.
Yeah, we want to know in the comments, do you think the Savannah Bananas are fair or foul? We appreciate you guys joining us on this edition of Crain & Company, and like the chances of me doing a backflip while catching a ball, we're gone. Because I'm just catching it, running my ass to the dugout.